What's up, guys? Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com, continuing our series on the top SketchUp extensions for architectural modeling in 2026. So, in this video, we're going to talk about a tool that doesn't get enough credit. It's Solid Tools. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. All right, remember that it's going to take me a while to actually get this whole series created, but if you want to get a full list of the extensions, including the locations of the extensions, tutorials on how to use them, and example models from the videos that I create, you can check that out at TheSketchUpEssentials.com/architecture extensions. Okay, and so before we go too far down the path of explaining how this tool works, I want you to understand why it's important, because it's a massive time saver for me. And so this is a really important extension for interacting solids with other solids. So in this case, right, I can take this object and subtract it from this one, right? And I can do that multiple times. I'll show you a way to do them all at once in a bit. But basically what this will do is this will allow you to add like these recesses to this shape, right? Now, sometimes, unless you're doing manufacturing, which these get used a ton for like making things, this is also really valuable for creating more complex shapes. So say you've got a stair like this one, you can kind of see it in here, and you want it to curve down at the end, you could use the subtract function in order to subtract this right here in order to create like a curving stair. You could also use this to join a bunch of objects together and cut holes without having to do a whole bunch of that manually. So there's a ton of different uses for this. We'll get into more later in the video, so stick around for that. Okay, and so this is a tool that I wish actually got more credit, right? And what Solid Tools is it's a tool that's built into SketchUp. So if you have the Pro version of SketchUp, you should already have this. And basically what it is it's a tool set that you can access by right-clicking and popping up the Solid Tools toolbar. I don't think you can actually disable this extension, so it should just show up inside of your toolbars. But basically what this is a tool set for intersecting solid models. Now, it's really important that you understand what solid models are. So a solid model is basically a three-dimensional model that's completely closed in, that has no gaps and no internal faces. So for example, a line is not going to be a solid. A face with a series of lines is not going to be a solid. And a 3D shape that isn't completely closed in is not a solid. Now, how can you tell something's a solid? By if you have group geometry, right? So I'm going to take the geometry from this cube. I'm going to triple click in order to select it all. I'm going to right click and I'm going to make it a group. Well, notice how as soon as I do that, I can see that it's a solid group up here in the upper right hand corner right here. And so if I was to come in here and edit this and say that we lost a face in here like this, and then I clicked out of it, notice how this is no longer a solid because there's a gap in here, right? So if I was to heal that gap back in like this, then this would be a solid. Now, other shapes can be solids as well. So like, for example, if I was to take this and extrude this into 3D, as long as there's no internal faces or no holes, this is going to be a solid group. And what that means is we can use solid tools in order to interact with it. And so in addition, other shapes can be solids too. Like if I take this sphere and make it a group, you can see how that shows up as a solid group. If I take this sphere, notice how it's got a gap in it. And so that's not going to be a solid group. But if I double click in here and I heal across the face like this and click out of it, as long as that didn't create any internal faces, then that will show up as a solid, right? So if you ever have an internal face in an object, so say, for example, I had a face running across this object right here, right? It's inside of the shape. You can see that if I toggle X-ray mode on, notice how that internal face makes this not a solid. So that's another thing you can do to fix this in order to make it a solid. Now, one thing that you may want to do is use the extension Solid Inspector. I'm going to link to a video I did that gets in depth on solids. I don't want to talk too much about it here because I want to talk more about applications in this video, but you can use the extension Solid Inspector to help you find problems that are keeping objects from being solid. Okay, so now I want to explain what the tools in Solid Tools do. And this first one is actually really important because I didn't realize what it could do. And so like say, for example, that you've got a stud wall like this one, and you want to interact things with the studs. Well, right now, each one of these studs, and notice how they are modeled as solid groups. So you need to make sure that you set your stud walls up like this, where your studs are individual groups. But right now, if I was to try to interact something with this, so say that I wanted to take a cut across these objects like this, what I would do is I would create a cutting object right here. But the problem is these are all individual, right? So if I push pull this here, then we'll just kind of take the whole thing and we'll scale it this way so that it's all the way past this. So if I was to take this, right, we do have a solid, but then these are individual solids right here, right? So if I was to try to subtract this, I could only cut one at a time and it gets really time consuming. Well, what outer shell does is it takes those objects, and I'll hide this so you can see these. It takes all of those solid objects and you can just combine them together into one singular solid piece. So if I click on outer shell with this, what this is going to do is this is going to take all of this and it's going to put it together into one group, right? So now all of this geometry is in here, but it shows up as a solid. Well, what that means is that means that we can, if we unhide our geometry right here, we could actually use this in order to remove the geometry off the top really quickly. So I use outer shell a lot in order to basically cut objects by combining a bunch of individual objects. Now note that this does also allow you to take different shapes. So say I had a box right here, and then say that I had a cylinder right here, and we had a little bit of overlap. So we'll just make this a group, and we're just going to align this. Right, if we were to take these two shapes and we were to use outer shell on them, what it would do is it would remove all of that interior overlapping geometry. So we can just take this. This is going to do an outer shell. And notice on the inside, you can kind of see that it removed out all that extra geometry. So now this is just exactly what it sounds like, an outer shell. Now, there are other ways to interact objects together as well. So like intersect. So in this case, what I've got is I've got a box and a cylinder. If I was to take this and use intersect, what that's going to do is that's going to keep only the geometry that's at the intersection in here, like this. So in this case, I mean, this might not be especially valuable, but there's a lot of different ways that you could use that. So that's what intersect is going to do. All right, so union is an interesting one because it's very similar to outer shell. And so outer shell, though, what it does is it takes everything and combines it into one, and it removes interior geometry. So say that you've got like a hollow piece that goes through this hollow piece right here. So what'll happen is if I use the outer shell function, it's going to put these together, and it's going to, and you can kind of see it here. We'll take a section cut in a second. It's going to combine these together, but notice how it removes the inner geometry of this object right here. Well, if we use union over here, so I'm going to take this solid, oops, I'm going to select these two and put them together. And now let's take a section cut across these and take a look at what that does. So if I take a cut across here, notice how outer shell removed the inner geometry in here when these were intersected together, but this one maintained that inner geometry, right? So we'll do the same thing over here, and I don't need to click on the section cut in order to do this, but notice how if we use the union function right here, when these get joined together versus right here, this one removes the inner geometry and this one doesn't. So for me, I very rarely have a shape that actually has that internal geometry, but I could see how this would be extremely helpful when you're modeling like stuff, right? So like actual things that are going to get made. So I think that's extremely valuable from that standpoint, but it is something where a lot of the time you won't really use it unless you need it. And the only time you'll know that you need it is when you have a use case where it makes sense, but definitely worth knowing the difference. Now, subtract is the one I probably use the most, and usually in conjunction with the union or with the outer shell function. But basically what this will do is this will take a piece of geometry in here and it'll subtract from this object. So in this case, right, say I wanted to add a slope to this object right here, what I would do is I would drop this shape on top of it. And one thing that I find helpful is I like to have the geometry kind of extending beyond when I do this. So like, for example, if I was to do this right here and I was to try to align this with the face, I don't always get a super great result when it's just like completely aligned right here. But what it does is it'll subtract off of this surface, right? It'll remove materials based on that surface. And so you can use this in order to create things like slopes. So one thing that I would do in this situation, if I wanted to create a slope, is notice how I've drawn my objects that are going to cut geometry. Well, what I could do is I could just do outer shell here, and then I could subtract them from this object like this in order to create this slope. Now I'm going to show you a couple ways to use this later on, but this is extremely, extremely powerful. Okay, so trim is similar to subtract, but what this one does is it keeps the geometry that you use to cut the opening, right? So the problem, and it's not necessarily a problem, just depending on how you plan everything out, but if you use subtract, what happens is you remove one solid from another, and that original geometry goes away. Well, with trim, you subtract one from another, but it keeps the first solid. So in this case, notice how when I trim this, right, I can run it over and over again like this, and it's going to keep trimming, but you're not actually losing that geometry. So if I trim right here, notice how I can use this over and over and over again. So if you want to keep your cutting geometry, then you can use trim rather than subtract in order to have that continually inside of your model. Okay, and then split is helpful because what it does is it'll split intersecting solids and it'll preserve the geometry. So in this case, right, what I would do is I would take all of these edges right here, I would outer shell them, and then that's going to leave me with a solid like this one. I've got a solid here and a solid here. Well, now what's going to happen is if I come in here and I use split, I can use this object on this object right here. And now if you look at this, this is separate geometry from the other stuff. So now I can erase this out right here and I can keep this. So split is really good for keeping things that are inside of a shape like this. So instead of me having to draw something on the outside to subtract, I can just draw where I want to keep this stuff and it'll just split it out and we can just utilize it directly inside of our model. So definitely a time saver from that standpoint. Now, the reason that this is important for architectural modeling is for a lot of different reasons. I'm going to show you some examples. Like one of the things that I've used this for lately is if I need to create a sloping roof, right? So something like this that's got a slope to it. What I can do is I can just draw a shape like this, and we don't need to be crazy precise with this. This just can overlap right here. And then what I can do is I'm using that as my cutting implement, right? So I'll just pull this across right here. And again, notice how I extend this out beyond the geometry just to make sure we're getting that like full cut in here. But then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to triple click. I'm going to make this a group and I'm going to subtract this from this object. Notice how that didn't work yet because we need to take all of these studs and do an outer shell on them. Once we do an outer shell on them, then we select this, it'll remove that geometry in here. So it saves you a ton of time just from the standpoint of cutting those openings. So you could also use this if you wanted to cut like a circular opening or a rectangular opening in the wall. It's the same thing, right? So you've got your cutting object right here. We'll make this a group. And then once we make this a group, we could use this in order to subtract the geometry in that opening from this wall right here. So useful for like doors and windows and cutting those openings if you're modeling out framing in your models. So another place I use this a lot is for things like roofs. So like, for example, say I wanted to add a dormer to this roof and I wanted to cut an opening. So one way that you could do that is you could take this object and you could then double click in here. You could right click and you can do an intersect faces with model, right? But then you have to come in here and you have to like manually work with all this geometry, which is not something that I really want, right? Because then I have to come in here and I have to delete out faces. And in this case, it's not really that big of a deal, except there's no wall on the inside, right? This is hollow. So then you kind of end up in this like drawing things across here, trying to get faces to show up, and it's just not really super good for this kind of tool. It's a very manual feeling process. So what I like to do instead is I like to figure out what the opening is going to look like, right? So I've pulled this through the interior of the wall, and I might pull this just a little bit more to make sure I'm all the way through the wall right here. But basically what I can do is I can use that solid object in here to remove the geometry. So we're just going to subtract it from the roof right here. And notice how that stuff that I did over here on the side has kind of like messed up this roof geometry. And so what we want to do instead is we're going to take this geometry and I'm going to go ahead and pull it through just to make sure that it's all the way through the bottom right here. But I can just use this shape, and as long as your roof is a solid and your dormer is a solid, you can just subtract this from this object right here. And notice how it just cuts the opening and maintains that geometry. Then it's just a question of you actually modeling out your dormer, which is not that big of a deal. That's really easy to do. But this is a really great way to cut holes in your roofs while not having to do that thing where you have to go in there and like manually draw a whole bunch of geometry and like cut out the geometry. Like I've wasted hours and hours trying to cut openings in roofs just because the way the slope geometry works. It's much better and much faster if you use solid tools. And then another thing you can do is say that you've got a shape like this one right here, and you want this to have like pickets in it, right? So what you can do is you can create a whole bunch of cutting objects. And I didn't realize this until I figured out that outer shell was a thing, but now you can just outer shell that whole cutting object. And I'm going to make it a little bit taller so you can just scale these down, but you can just use this in order to quickly create like pickets or slices or holes through objects that repeat just by creating a whole bunch of cutting objects using like an array or something like that. But it's very fast, very easy. And then you can also use this to do things like sloping walls. So say you've got a wall like this one that curves and you want to add a slope to it. Well, what you can do is you can draw the slope in there just as a shape like this. We're just going to pull it past. Then I'm going to triple click and I'm going to make this a group. Well, now this is a solid and this is a solid. So I can use this in order to add a slope to this curving wall right here while maintaining its solidity. And so in addition to that, say that I wanted a door opening in this wall. Well, because this is a solid, right? It's actually really easy for me to add this as a door. So I can just triple click on this, scale it through, make it a group, and then we're just going to remove the geometry right here. So that's going to go through and it's going to slice an opening into the wall. Now it looks like I didn't scale it quite far enough, so we'll make sure we scale it all the way through. But again, and I'll scale it down as well, just so it goes beyond that bottom face. But this is a really good way to cut openings into these more complex walls as well. And then this is also helpful for things like terrains, because what we can do is say we draw a terrain with sandbox tools, right? Well, with the terrain and sandbox tools, all I would have to do is just draw some edges down. I'll go ahead and draw down multiple edges like this. But if you draw a face like this, we'll draw one more line down on the back side, and I'm just drawing this off of the corners of the sandbox that I created. It's not like crazy geometric editing or anything like that. Well, notice how when I do that, this now shows up as a solid group right here. So because it's a solid group, we can actually interact it with other things. So in this case, say that I wanted to add like a building pad or something like that. Well, I can use this tool in order to do that, right? I can kind of like extend this beyond, but I can figure out where I want like a retaining wall or something like that to be. And then I can use the subtract function in order to subtract this. And notice how you've got this kind of like nice slope up to this because it just removes up to the base right here. So if you want to cut openings or remove things from your terrain, you can definitely do that like this. Now, one thing that you might do is you might use this to create more of a split like this. And then we could go ahead and remove this object. What that means is that geometry is still here, right? So you could kind of move it off to the side like this. And if you ever wanted to bring it back, you could just do, in this case, I think it would probably be a union, but we could always just put this back together using the union function like this. And so it's not necessarily non-destructive, right? If you make changes to, like you've done destructive editing to the surface, but if you were to keep that piece, you could put it back later if you didn't like this. So it's definitely a possibility to do things like that as well. And so overall, I just feel like this tool is a little bit underrated. Like once you start creating everything as solids, which is not hard to do, if you just pay attention to what you're creating as you go, it gives you access to these advanced editing functions that can be really, really helpful. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about solid tools if you're using it. I just love having that conversation with you guys. I'll also link to the architectural extensions guide on this page. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.